Good morning, people. It's August 5th, Tuesday morning. I'm up at the A-frame to give you a quick update on progress. Lots going on, a few important changes actually. This project has been kind of evolving as it goes along, so a couple of decisions were made, and I actually have the siding. I stained up the first batch of it, so I will show you how that is going to look. It's actually really beautiful. I'm quite pleased the way that's coming. Getting windows in, working on getting ready for the siding to go up, and I actually got my bucket of stain the other day. I went with a really nice one coat kind of product, an oil-based kind of stain that soaks into the wood, doesn't leave a film like paint where it can peel off, but more of a penetrating finish. So I worked it in about 5 times to get it so it soaked deeply into the wood, hold up a long time. So yeah, let's take a quick look at the outside. You can see the green trim. I've been painting the trim around the edges where the siding will go in to it, which I will zoom in on here. You'll see the fascias, which are the front facing areas on the right near the roofing, are all green, and then the window trim is green, and then anywhere siding is going to run into it is running into strips of wood. And you can see the trim around the windows. It's wider at the outside edges, which I think is kind of cool, and that'll allow the siding to hit it and leave a little bit of a reveal beyond what the thickness of the siding is. So I had to add that extra wood to build it out a little bit. You can see it goes right up into the peak, and I got up there and finished out the detail up there so that there wouldn't be bees coming after me. So anyway, here is a big pile of siding. This just came late last week, and that represents all the siding that will be needed for the building and the porch that's going to be added onto the front there, and probably some left for the shed. I over-ordered deliberately to wind up with at least enough. And so you see this little dormer is ready for siding, ready for those 2 windows to go in, which we'll get to. But here's something I'm really quite happy about. So I stained the first batch of siding, and I wanted something with a little bit of a reddish tinge, which this does have. They say it'll get a little lighter with time, which is fine. I don't mind if it stays this way. It's beautiful. But this is going to be what will cover all the areas otherwise not covered by anything else, and I think it's going to be really pretty. So this product, I work the stain in. What you do is apply it. Now I don't use a sprayer. I don't really like using sprayers. So I brush this on and let it sit a little while, and of course it gets soaked in more in some areas than others at first, and then you go back over it so those areas that are drinking it up get more. So I went over each of these boards several times to darken them up, and as you can see, wood varies. Some areas are really dark, some are really light, but I don't mind that it varies. It's going to add a nice rustic look. So that's where we're at with the exterior. And then I got talking with my wife Marilyn. She came up yesterday for a visit, and we ended up making a pretty major decision that changes things up. Which, look at this caterpillar hanging in front of the door. I'll get around him. So originally I had kind of started with a design that I deviated from, and I've made several changes. One of which I thought, well, if the downstairs has hallways, a hallway that goes out about 2/3, and then the open area at the back is about 1/3 of the building, that would be pretty cool. But I mean, I realized, and then Marilyn realized all the more so, that space was going to be an issue, because an A-frame really does limit the amount of space you've got. And I had decided at one point I wanted to put these stairs at an angle, but they take up a good bit of space, and I didn't want them to be uncomfortable. Originally, this was conceived as a vacation home to rent out to skiers and short-term rental people, and it's taken a turn in that Marilyn has opened the idea of living in this for a couple of years, and then we have a choice whether to rent or sell depending on economic and other conditions. So I wanted this fancy little staircase to be a feature and not just utilitarian. But I also felt like if somebody was actually going to live in here, some A-frames have spiral staircases, some have narrow staircases or ladders, and I felt like, well, if you're going to live in this, you really want comfortable stairs. So everything was code here as far as comfortable rise-run ratio, plenty of headroom, little landing at the bottom. So those features are all good, but again, it takes up some space. And then, of course, for whatever reason, I love country type living, and I love having a wood stove or a fireplace. Fireplaces aren't very efficient for heat, so I'd installed this wood stove, and it became kind of a feature in itself in that it had to have the pipe come out near the ridge, just because the further down the roof you are, the higher the stack's got to be to clear the ridge by about 4 or 5 feet. So that would have been quite impractical. And there's a limit to how far over you can kick the pipe from where the stove is to still have a good draft. So the stove, as you can see now, I actually had the final hookup in place to situate it so that I could determine where this little hearth would be, which is now covered up with tools and equipment. But anyway, the wood stove is going to land about where that big saw is with the hose over it. And so that'll be to one side. And then originally I thought about putting French doors back here, but between the stair landing and the wood stove, I realized only a slider would really work there. So that's that. Getting some windows in. These two on the bottom are done. Waiting on the others. I have the big triangle. These huge triangles are waiting to go in. They're going to be a bit of a challenge. And then what you see here on the floor, this is all window sill material. And as I'm now trimming windows as I install them, there's a lot of trim wood all set up here. But anyway, the big change I was telling you about is simply this. We originally conceived of the beautiful upstairs bedroom being the main feature, which it is. And back here was going to be a downstairs bedroom. And that seemed all well and good, but based on space considerations, when Marilyn came up here, we began to walk around, and she wasn't satisfied with the amount of actual living area. And then after thinking about it, it occurred to us that having a guest bedroom that would be used now and then really didn't justify tying up this large amount of space down here. And she likes having a big kitchen. Our current house has a beautiful, huge kitchen with a big, long island, and it's been very handy. So the island is sort of like counter space that you can use from inside the kitchen, and bar stools on the outside where it's a great dining area, and we have a dining room and a big living room that it opens into. So this, being an A-frame with limited space, really made us rethink this. So anyway, the upshot of that whole discussion was we are actually going to convert this large space into the kitchen, and then have this wall that I put up is going to be taken down partially. I think we'll probably end up leaving maybe 3 feet in on either end for having the refrigerator and more space for cabinets and the like. So this little area here will probably be left up to what was going to be the doorway, and then we're actually reconfiguring this so the kitchen sink will be in front of this little window, and then this, what was going to be the bedroom, has 2 windows in the dormer area, and we're conceiving of having a kind of a horseshoe island come out from the middle between the windows, leaving room for seating on either side, and then having a nice long island come out like the one we have at our other house. And without the wall here, it will be a nice open dining area as well as a kitchen, and it'll spill into this area. Being that this wall will be substantially removed, what I'm going to actually do is take that wall and move it over. There's going to be a bathroom over in this corner. When you come in the door, immediately, say to the left coming in, this is a bathroom, and it'll come over to where there's some X's on the wall here. So there's a common wall. There's an upstairs bathroom that's right above this. So this bathroom will come over about 8 feet. And then this was what was going to be the kitchen. And now I think this is actually going to be where the dining table goes in front of this window. There'll be a nice space here. And then that frees up this whole area where you see a bunch of wood piled up. Now this will be an area where a couch can go. And then my thought was, so there's a little nook under the stairs where a desk will go. And then ultimately I think I'm going to hang a TV off this wall. It's an angled wall, but you can get brackets that will allow the TV to hang in a normal way. So I think we have a whole new floor plan that is going to better reflect the use of space, being efficient, and what will, you got to think about what you're going to do on a day-to-day basis versus that occasional guest. And the nice thing is, I actually designed this basement area to be a nice, comfortable flight of stairs, and we'll have a den, and I'll have a workshop, and we'll have a utility laundry area down here. And I think what's going to end up happening for those occasions we do have guests, we're going to put a bedroom right in this corner, and there's an egress window there that swings out. I'll put a little ladder up to that just for fire reasons. And so anyway, we've come up with a plan that I think will solve some of the issues. I know Marilyn was having qualms about being up here, and admittedly you do get some weather up here in the winter that's a little bit more severe than what we get down below where we live a few miles away. And we want this to be cozy, comfortable, and have enough room for the kitchen and the dining and the cooking and all the various activities. So anyway, that's the latest in the changes being implemented. Other than that, we're going full speed ahead to get the exterior finished up, get the windows in, the trim on, the siding on, and hopefully by winter all that remains will be inside. And at that point, we'll have various forms of heat. Right now, the wood stove is the one ready to go. I haven't put in the main heating system yet, but that will come. Anyhow, that's a quick update. Wanted to just let you know where we're at with this. There's a lot of fun things happening, and now I've got to get to work. Got one more nice day, and we might get some rain, so I'm going to really try to jam out. I'm going to bring that siding in so I can finish drying, and any rain we get later today or tomorrow will have no effect. And then this giant pile I've got to open up and probably oil up a bunch more boards. Get some more boards ready so that the siding can begin to go on here. And this front side, I'm ready to actually make some progress, so I'm very eager to do that. I will keep you posted, and enjoy the day. Take care.